So how about you guys feel free to chime in on spaces there and
Yes.
be muted in that while we head over to Paris Shilton so then we can
Muting.
get a live recording going there. See, is that me that has that? Or you might need to mute your on cyber. I think that's probably where we're getting.
I did mute my on cyber.
There we go. I just did the same.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, because I'm talking, it's playing on the YouTube in there, which is great because we got multiverse
Oh
going.
shit.
Got the multiverse lined up and streaming for all my aliens, apes, and zombies. Well, let's get this
Unmute it.
up here. You up here. Up here. And we'll get this. Place it up top. All right, so we got a couple ways to stream there. Let's see what else we got. We got to push a couple more buttons before we invite my aliens, apes, and zombies. All right. So if you want to join us, there's multiple ways that you can be joining us if you're tuning in now or if you're tuning in later. One, you can hop into On Cyber, and that would be Web3 Gaming, On Cyber Web3 Gaming, where I am in there right now with my CryptoPunk. And there was a void running around here in a second. And if not, oh, there it is. And the void is none other than Kevin on Earth, which we'll be interviewing in 1 second. But we're going to be setting the room here with Avery Piper, who is had a drink in his hand. I was going to see what you're going to drink, what you're drinking, but we're starting actually live action. And we have 6 back at it again. We're giving Dr. Doge the night off. He had a rough run of things. He actually on this Father's Day, he actually lost his father last week, and then he also another loved one, his cat. Actually, I believe he had to put to sleep. So rough run of things, but we're here for you, Dr. Doge, like we always are, and we're going to get going here for all my aliens, apes, and zombies. If you look at the top of the pinned tweet up there, you see the Novoverse, and we are streaming multicast through the metaverse right now and on cyber. We have an multiple AR filters. We have the co-host Avery Piper 6, and also waving from the clone and the bulletproof jacket there. We have Kevin on Earth. How is everyone doing on this Father's Day, Sunday fun day? Woo!
Go. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yes. Thanks for being on, and thanks for streaming on your YouTube channel, my YouTube channel. We have it on Twitch. We have it on a whole bunch of platforms, and also on Cyber. Avery Piper, how about you start us off here, my friend?
Yeah,
Kevin, what we lined up here?
Oh yeah, I think let's start off with the icebreaker question. I just thought of this right before I jumped on. I think I want to go around the room and ask everyone how they. No, actually, I want to ask everyone, describe yourself or your approach to life in one word, and then like expand on it. So one word, your approach to life, and then a couple of sentences explaining why you chose that word and why it makes sense for you. Novo, you want to kick that off?
Yeah, I'll go first. I'll say fast. And I try to stay 2 steps ahead. Sometimes I talk so fast I stumble on my own words. I was a track athlete, so I had to run fast. Football player, not very big, so I had to run fast. And the space moves very fast. And sometimes you got to get on and just pop on. I know we all had very busy weeks. I know, Avery, I know that you had a little vacation time, so you got out of here. But, like having these Sunday fun days is almost like live business meetings where we can catch up with each other, see what's going on in this space, because it does go by fast. And before you know it, blink of an eye, you know what? Something else new will be out there. We'll be talking about something new. But tonight, we'll just be talking about some good old-fashioned having fun. So, yeah, one word for me would be fast.
I love it. Kevin, do you want to go next?
Hey, you know what? Thank you for having me. I think I would have to go with the word direct. For me, like I feel like so many times we put things between us and what we're trying to create. I went to school, I studied jazz, so I think that like improvising jazz piano like was something that taught me how to sort of let go of the judgment that we often put between ourselves and what we're trying to create before we even try to create it. And I feel like it prevents people from getting directly to the value of like why we're here, what we're doing, what we're able to learn. And so for me, I would say direct. I like to just create and get directly to it without even any judgment, just like straight to the creative work.
And
That's a beautiful thing.
I saw that right when he logged in tonight, and I was like, "What can we do?" And I was like, "Oh, On Cyber, send me the link. I'm gonna stream it right in YouTube for you." And I love seeing the On Cyber space. We can almost get the Inception effects where we're looking at ourselves.
I love that.
Six, how about you? One word to maybe describe yourself there, Six.
One word to describe me would be driven. And I'm really like a person that it doesn't matter what hurdles are put in my lane. Like no matter what, I'm going to do whatever I have to do to be able to jump that hurdle, to be able to succeed. But whether it's putting in time to study something or learning from another person, it doesn't matter. Like I'm just very person that doesn't give up no matter what. Like, so anything that I want to do, I'm going to stay down until I get it done.
I like it. I love your drive. That's why I like to connect with you. You are a driven person. I mean, you can tell behind the art behind you, and you're popping those things out like every other day there. You're painting that stuff behind you, mixing in songs. I love it, man. Keep it up. Stay driven. I love that. Keep building. How about you, AP?
I think my word is balance. And it's not balanced with a D at the end. It's balance. I think everybody has their own balance to life, the things that they care about, things that they want to get better at. And I think part of what's made me is I think my ability to not overjudge myself, but to be able to hold myself accountable to things. So balance is important. We all have our own version of what that means. And I think holistically, what I mean by that is like we're all doing our best. We're all trying to balance our lives, what makes the most sense to us in pushing ourselves forward and pushing the space forward and pushing our family forward and pushing our careers forward. So balance is my word.
Totally.
Man, it's great. It's a great way to round it off. And, almost each one of those words just add up to like the big picture of just, what it could mean to a community. And, you being having balance, sometimes balance is me. So I'm not as quick and as fast. Sometimes I have lots of ingredients I want to put into this cauldron of this Web3 space. And sometimes, the best simplicity is the best, to do that.
100%.
You're a chef, Novo. A chef needs people around him to create the meal as well, right? Like you have the grand vision, but we have to cook it up. As Six knows well, cooking up beats is a very real thing. I think I really want to ask Kevin. I really know nothing about you. If it's okay to transition over. I don't know anything about you, which is a good thing. And I want to know more about you. I think obviously we got connected through Novo and then through Jedi, who was on last week, but would love 100%. To hear like the types of things you've been working on. I studied jazz piano as well, so I feel really connected to you through that. You're probably a really, really good improviser, but would love to hear about kind of like maybe some of your background, what you're looking to accomplish in the space, what you have accomplished, and like, who you are, who you like to present yourself as.
Absolutely. And I appreciate the opportunity. I feel like there's nothing better than getting the chance to just step out and introduce yourself to a bunch of people who've maybe never heard of you before. So I welcome that opportunity. And just to kind of give you in a nutshell, my philosophy is really centered in music. I studied music at Berkeley, lived a long time on the East Coast, half Brazilian, just like have this worldly view. And so I think most like everybody was told that you can't live off of music, right? Or art. And, sort of, we all just sort of like proceed forward with this dream. And sometimes it can get hard and you have to just follow what you think is, solving a true problem, or at least that's where my path went. I ended up saying, I wrote every kind of music. I had produced for artists like world-class talent. I had produced entire albums. I had done work with orchestras because I studied jazz composition and film scoring. I did all that, but none of it mattered when eventually my cousin had a spinal injury and was paralyzed. And I was thinking, how can I use music to help him? That's where I started to think about music as a vehicle rather than a destination. And I created this technology that used motion capture software to turn body movement into music while collecting data for doctors, so that people, when they're doing physical therapy or exercises, that they're creating music instead of going home with a piece of paper. They have this opportunity where they can actually create music by moving their body and doing those exercises. And the doctor can see how they're progressing over time. This company I started called Point Motion. I can just quickly share my screen so you can see what I'm talking about. I can play a little preview video if you want.
Yeah, go for it. That'd be awesome.
Yep.
At home, you can.
A growing senior population and an increase in chronic neurodegenerative diseases have cost the U.S. healthcare system billions of dollars and fueled a greater need for accessible care and improved patient monitoring. The market is ready for new, innovative solutions to address these growing issues. Welcome to Sound Health. Sound Health is an AI platform specially designed to support physical and brain health for seniors. We like to think of it as an adherence engine, making therapeutic interventions actually fun for patients to engage with. Isn't it time to give patients more than a piece of paper to follow for their activities? With Sound Health, patients get an entire...
You get the idea. It's like Netflix, but for exercises. It uses motion capture. I ran that company for 10 years and really put my heart and soul into it. Recently exited the company and was, that in itself is a whole journey. But, what I realized is that music is this vehicle to solve problems, and technology is just a tool that we use to make those problems easier to solve. And so in 2017, I started to invest in crypto. I started to be aware of the potential for solving problems. In 2019, I started to build on my own in parallel to running this startup. And eventually I created this decentralized news network called the Decentraland Report. And this basically was just me saying, hey, people out there, they want to learn about what's happening. And this is just a way for me to build a team. And we created a token where people could earn that token for reporting in the metaverse. And so, we ended up doing a lot of things there, and that's how I sort of started in this space. And now I've sort of shifted into really focusing in on cyber, where I think there's just such an amazing suite of tools for community builders. And so that's where I've just been creating right now. You can see we got a Homer Simpson here in the house.
We're right now, and you guys can join us on Cyber. It's the On Cyber Gallery. It is afterwards, after On Cyber IO, just do /Web3 Gaming, and it'll just pop you right there, where we're actually watching the Novoverse live action, and you can actually watch it above. Just look up there. It says Paris Hilton NFT. You can be watching this as we are streaming in multiverses, as we are talking with our honored guest this Sunday, KevinOnEarth999, and that's where you can find him at KevinOnEarth. So, I mean, I love the systematic change that you have presented with video capture, getting those analytics for, pretty much chair workouts for, elderly.
Absolutely. And we mainly focus on Parkinson's and Alzheimer's patients and people with, autism. That was, where we saw that music wasn't, there were people with pieces of paper doing these exercises, and there was nobody there to support them 90% of the time. So music and sort of I think the act of creation, the act of creativity, the more people can realize that, I think the more their doors open. It's when people forget their potential to create, I think we start to fall backwards.
Not only that, I mean, it has actually purpose, besides gameplay behind it. And
Love
like
that.
things that I've heard, and it being Father's Day, my father, having body parts replaced on him, just like very similar to a car, knees and hips and
Right.
etc., where there is that rehabilitation aspect of it, and in some states they don't even have like rehab after you get out of. He had his hip replaced, and he's out of there in 8 hours, and then pretty much rehab started at home, and you can just replace doctor's visits, this and that, with pretty much the technology that you did. I don't want to say in a past life, but in your
Right.
two life, and now branching into the Web3 world, the similarities are parallel, where you can take that and drop it into VR, drop it into
Exactly.
AR filters. You can, different ways of tracking and expressing motion, very similar to what you're doing with your clone. And
100%.
that IP behind it. I also want to give a quick shout out. I'm going to put myself on the big screen right here. Is for the Noundles, who sent me over one of these hoodies, which was pretty awesome.
Nice.
Thank you for keeping me warm. I actually was a proud owner back in the day of a nice cherry looking one, but actually played the flipping game, rounded up, and got into some different nouns. So thank you very much for this wonderful looking panda here. It's very
Beautiful.
sharp looking, and from Crypto Novo to everyone else out there, stay positive and love life, because there's this cool things happening all over the time, all over the place. And we're talking with a clone, and it's awesome because we would have JRR Token on as well, and he would talk as his clone, and is getting those files that Artifact has for the T model rigging, and all of those started with something that we're very familiar with, is the Voids, which was the very first NFT project that has full
3D modeled facts.
tell us a little, maybe something that intrigues you into this Web3 world. Was it the technology from what's happening with these NFTs, where you can bring them into full body movements?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that got me excited. I think the first thing really was the land ownership, because for me, I feel like as an artist, we always had somebody between us and who we ultimately want to deliver our creative work to. And all of that, in order for us to reach people, we have to create an experience. And it's very hard to create an experience when your senses are limited. And I think to create a powerful experience, you need discovery. And, everyone knows what to expect on a landing page or on a Twitter feed. You scroll down and you start to when you start to have that pattern of expectation, you start to move away from this almost liberating feeling of discovery to this prison of expectations. And time and time again through art, we see that we make these breakthroughs, and we start to master it. And then, it's not until a point later down the line that some people who are willing to kind of take the beratement of the masses to experiment with some new mediums that, people say, hey, there's something to discover here. So for me, it was like, I can build that and I can own that without anybody getting in my way. I started building in Decentraland, and I just really found a really exciting ecosystem filled with creators. At that time, it was like 2019. I really saw a really great future for creators who could own their own gallery, and it was just basically a very organic thing. It didn't really become serious for me until I started to say, hey, and this is funny, I started to live action role play as this reporter. I just started to go into the metaverse to show some friends on my live stream what was happening in Decentraland, because none of them were logging in. So I wanted to show them this event. So I was just joking to them, being a reporter, and that just ended up finding steam, growing, and I realized I was fulfilling a need, and I started to understand that more. And before I knew it, I realized, I could never invite, if I had somebody who really loved my music or really loved my art, it would be hard for me to really invite them over my house, really, based on where they are, how much I know them. But like, I realized the metaverse now allows me anybody to invite me into invite them into my space. And the depth of the relationships that I was starting to create just made me a degen ever since.
And that's that's a huge part of it. I mean, I just had Ronald McDonald dancing right now in this metaverse, but it almost relates back to like, all right, almost my lack of knowledge with Six and like how he's a multi-talented artist, just not well, I would call him a professional musician, producer, rapper, but like, just seeing the physical works that he's able to display and use. Like you're saying, now you're able to bring that into the metaverse. You'll be able to stream it in multiverses. Six, do you have any assimilations now with this Web3 world where you're now able to show and showcase multi-talents that you have? It might not be directly in the metaverse, though it is, because it lives in the Novoverse and in VR, thanks to friends in the space. But, coming from maybe a more traditional musician background, how the metaverse, the Web3, and different platforms are a different venue for you to showcase, your range of art.
I was actually just talking to my little brother about this earlier, something similar, but just telling him how we talking about Web3, but just about how before I did a lot of different things. Like I've always been multi-talented, but it was more like you had to figure out which one do you want to do, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And go in that direction and usually stay in that direction. Like, it wasn't really much of even like a person who's usually a musician or a recording artist of that, something like that. They may have other talents and they get to be a professional and you get other doors that are open, but a lot of times they want you to be stuck in this same, one lane or whatnot. And so for me, when NFTs and Web3 popped up for me, I was like, wow, this is really a way that I can intertwine all these different things that I do without having to push something to the side, because that's really something that I hate not using gifts. And I've done that for years, which is why I didn't draw for over 10 years. But I was really focused on music. Now it's more like I can just try to balance, like with you, I need to get more balance like AP, but it's like you can do everything and be able to provide, give all these different things to the people that support you. Let them see all the different things that you can do as a whole instead of only providing them with this one service that you do.
Truth.
And that's what it is branching all that out there. And it's a collage of your work, and that's the best. And the best place to store it is in a non-cyber, in a Decentraland, in whatever metaverse you can have there. Because it's the same thing. Like, I would love to get out to the Oregon area and visit Six and see his art. But right now, I mean, we got to use Spaces to bridge that medium. We got to use the metaverse to bridge that medium. So, same thing with what Kevin's building. I mean, it's tough to get out to those locations. I mean, yeah, you can come over to my house anytime you want, and I could show you, my unfinished basement and my washer and dryer that my desk is not made out of, and the crypto Novo stuff around. But you don't need to travel hundreds of miles to see it when that can just be displayed IRL in different video content, but then also within the Novoverse and different metaverses, to have that meeting spot, that clubhouse, that the area that you can show off to your friends, and you can show what it's about. You can show what you've been collecting, what you've been up to, what you've building, what you've been creating.
Totally.
AP, next line of questions. What do we got here? I'm our podcast notes here. What do we got?
Oh yeah, I think something that Kevin was saying, like, there is definitely in my mind still, and I forget. I'm really embarrassed by the gentleman's name. There's another guy that I know of who kind of started, and Novo, you know him well, and I'm forgetting his name. I'm embarrassed, but he, Andrew Wang. Basically the idea of there's a big gap in this space, in my opinion, with news, and like just the whole idea of like, especially because now things are less predicated on like a financial gain kind of thing going on. I think there's a space in there where people, it's just like true alpha of like the latest and greatest and coolest things that people are building. And I think there's people building things and they're trying their hardest to document the way that they're building things. But I think there is a space for someone and for people to actually capture that more holistically and in a way that's digestible for the everyday person. So like, of course, maybe the things that, if there was an article in the New York Times that was like about crypto or about Web3, us four would probably know of that stuff already. And it wouldn't be something that we're necessarily like in on or very interested in. But I think there's a space for us to be more Web3 native in this kind of like news thing. And I think that's kind of inspiring just for me in this group. And like, maybe that's something that we should really be tapping. It's live business meeting, as Novo says, like that's something that we could really continuing to be tapping into as we interview folks. Like we're really can be the source of like brand new stuff people are building. But anyways, that's kind of like just what I was thinking of. I was also thinking of, and I wanted to ask you this, Kevin, it's kind of a side note, but like, I'm not sure if you're following this like goose sale, the ringer that just sold for like, forget how much. Let me know if you don't know what I'm talking about. But,
I did not see this goose sale. Tell me about. I mean, I've been hearing words about a goose, but I didn't know what the goose was related to.
Yeah, so I think it's Sotheby's. They did an auction again. I know they don't do auctions very often, and I think Christie's did one, but I think it was Sotheby's this time that did an auction for this early art blocks project called Ringers. I don't know very much about it, but it's got by this guy named Dmitry Cherniak, I think is his name. Anyways, early adopter. I think he made 1,000 of these generative art things. There's one in particular that looks a little bit more like a goose. Novo, I'll drop it in the thing if you want to put it in the, or just like share it here. But it sold for a ridiculous amount of money. I think this guy, this influencer slash like builder slash purchaser bought it for millions of dollars. I forget how much. And I wanted to ask you kind of about your perspective on maybe the art scene or like things that you've liked. Because I know Novo asked you about things that you like in the space, but like, is there any kind of, did art also draw you in? Or you like, obviously you are an artist.
Absolutely.
Like, was there something like art blocks wise or anything early? Because you said you were in crypto in 2017, and I'm wondering if you saw sprinklings maybe in 2020, or you were earlier than most of this year.
I mean, I saw like art blocks, and it's funny. That's like the first time I missed one, and I felt like I was like, damn, like I feel like I could have. And I should have. And then after that, like I ended up, as a musician, I was like, all right, like, I'm going to really get into, the next one is like all me. Right. And I got into when I was like Grammatic was dropping, it was doing this drop. And I bet there's still like a live stream of it somewhere of me just like flipping out over getting this drop. And like, I remember calling my wife like, yo, this is like our first like big investment in a crypto art piece. And it was like, we still have it. And, I just like most of the market did not retain its value very well, but that piece still means everything to me. Like it's still at, in my on cyber space, when you go to the top, I have this space that's like a different space other than this, because I've really created like a labyrinth, like this massive like connection of different on cyber has so many different tools, and the fact that you can make multiple variations on any space for free, just like it has such it's a scalable nature to it. Like it's, it kind of like even popes like on cyber brought back like the opportunity to really experience and enjoy art that you've invested in. Because I don't know, for me, I feel like if you go on OpenSea to see your art, to see your NFTs, you're also like kind of force fed to look at a floor price or like a market volume or all these other things, like, and you're just ingrained with this experience that naturally like distorts your view of like why you bought it in the first place, whereas on site,
I think that's so right, man. I think that actually is, I have never even thought about that kind of thing. It's like, it's super, like that's very fundamental, but something that I'm completely missing. Like every time we look up these things, especially when I look things up, there's a price tag on them every single time, like on all of these platforms.
Truth.
And it's nice, the fact, like you're mentioning, you can put things somewhere and it doesn't have to have a price tag. It can just look like you want it to look, and you bought it for the way it looks. So I think that's a really, thanks for bringing that all together, especially when it comes around on cyber. I guess like, you mentioned right before we hopped on live here, kind of how On Cyber has changed. But it seems like On Cyber is your place, like the place where you call home most often. What's that been like, and what's your POV? Are you currently using VR at all, or are you mostly simply on your computer, desktop type of thing?
I'm definitely enjoying VR. Like, I've had some great opportunities to play around with the Quest, and like for my experience has been more entertainment movie experiences. I've tried to do some metaverse experiences, but for me, I never had, I'll just say, like, I like to move around, but I also like to have this physical sense of the world. So for me, like, I started to create in Decentraland. That was really where I started to focus. But like I said, like, I kind of ran into some barriers, like being able to stream, the cost of building was extremely high. Like also I will say, like, the ecosystem that you're a part of really matters. Like everyone's doing their own thing, but I feel like in On Cyber, there's this sort of like unified commitment to the creative economy, specifically like around sort of, I'll say, lowering the barrier for creatives to onboard people outside of Web3. So you can enter with a Twitter login, you can enter with a Google login, you can secure your username for free, like all of these things that were barriers before when I was trying to bring in people into the metaverse. Now it's like, I can hit up my mom, have her jump in on her phone, and like have a movie night in the metaverse with no cost of like server. Like, you can legit come into On Cyber, and like before I was here, I was literally just playing video games, screen sharing my video games into this space. Me and my buddies were playing just different games. You can actually screen share multiple screens at the same time. So if you have like first person shooters, you can have you and your buddy screen sharing your, FPS games on two separate walls. Like, it just really made it fun to forget sometimes about the tech and the platforms and all that, and just enjoy what we can do together. And that's really why I've started to call On Cyber my home. I've really been heavily building here, I would say, for 3 or 4 months now. And even there, I'll say, I've only scratched the surface. They're growing I'm pretty sure this week this week they're opening friends list. So we'll be able to friends each other here, and you can find me wherever I am.
That's awesome. And I want to say that On Cyber, I'm sorry, maybe my connection's a little weird. But yeah, On Cyber, like the way that you have it laid out looks really, really good. I haven't seen On Cyber in a minute, so it's really nice. It's like cozy in there. It looks, you can walk around. There's enough space. Got big screens. Like, it's way different than what I remembered. I mean, at least from when I was walking around, it was like, I think it was less about the gallery stuff, and I think there had just been like implementation of like the walk around, jump around kind of city thing, and I forget what that's called. That's really great, man. Yeah, I don't, Novo, I don't want to take up all the airtime, but if you and Six have any other questions,
I'm actually sitting here just playing around. I actually forgot we were streaming here for 10 minutes.
I'm in there too.
I'm
in there.
I feel left out now.
That's the whole aspect of it, is you're in here playing around, looking at his art, seeing what he collects, and it almost tells his story, so like you're able to get a little bit of research in there. And like, JR Token, who's been on, prior master builder On Cyber, and has, multiple venues. Same thing. He actually built all my On Cyber spaces because he knows how to format it, and able to walk over to a video game and, look in there and see an NFT pop up in the video game. Just all cool stuff that exactly is point on to simplicity. It's on your cell phones, someone who might not be tech savvy. I don't know your parents at all, but someone who might not be tech savvy, like my parents wouldn't understand it, but they can obviously push a button on a phone to get connected and watch this. And for the people listening right now, you can go up on the top tweet right there. You can retweet the room where you actually can watch what we are looking at live action. You can come into On Cyber. We are in Gallery Web3 Gaming. So you can just hop in there and watch that as well.
I want to tell you about a cool feature, Crypto Novo. If you want to, let's hear about it. If you want to press X on your screen, you can have an out-of-body experience and fly around with your camera. Let's see. And now you can fly around and like change your camera view, so you can like.
So this is the drone view, just like if you were
exactly.
VR and Neos. I love that. So you can detach from your own body, just like those crazy weasels and Roger Rabbit. I'm dating myself here. If you haven't seen Roger Rabbit, it's a great CGI movie, first of its kind that mixed humans and cartoons to that extent. Thank you, Disney.
Oh,
It was a cool feature. Thank you. Learning. This is a learning experience too. So now all my aliens, apes, and zombies watching at home, when you are in the On Cyber Gallery, I'm simply hitting X. I'm hitting W as well, so I can fly through the room, and I'm just driving myself around with my mouse. There we go. There's
great
your
for making like videos. You can make entire, movies. This is a new feature that I've recently been playing around with, and we haven't even begun to scratch the limits of this.
Well, what I'm thinking, Six and Avery, is very simple for us to create music videos in this. If we can fly around like that, screen record it, mix it in with VR headset like we have been doing, but now we have that the version. We have all those VRM files of different Decentraland skins that we can pull in here as well. Man,
Exactly. I mean, they're releasing things almost like on a weekly basis. It's kind of hard to keep up with. So all my streams I've been doing, like right next to that Atari symbol, you'll see like a weekly stream schedule. So I'm like streaming every day with different themes, just from building. I even have an anime club on the weekends where we just like hang out and watch anime. So like there's just so many things that you can really do. It takes a lot to see everything. So if anybody ever has any questions, I'm definitely glad to help. One of my favorite tools here is that you can embed like iframe websites. So, whether it be a Spotify, so Six, you're a musician, like you can embed your like Spotify playlist directly into the space. So for me, I like to have like basically everything that my community needs in one space, like my Spotify website, everything it's cool.
can I propose something to you? And you can definitely say no.
Please.
Maybe at this time on Sundays, if we can just stream in your On Cyber room, and then that just gives us another platform.
I'm so down.
Almost just like
down.
another. And if you can't make it or not, it's simple to restream. We've seen how you can do it on this platform.
And the beautiful thing is I can actually, just like a Google Doc, I can give you like access to the room where you can literally come in here and stream anytime you want. Like, and just like you would screen share on Zoom, you can screen share. So like, it's just like totally opens the doors for collaboration. I'm so down, and actually like I would definitely be down to come through on a regular basis just to support and be here in the room and like sort of host and help however I can. This is a movement.
Dude, I'm all about it, because what I'm trying to accomplish is, making that Novoverse platform somewhere where it in Decentraland, playing the loop of all the songs that Six has created. We're almost at like 8 or 9 by now. Man, crazy. One being the Void song, dope Void song, but then just simply just to having that same soundtrack going into On Cyber as well, because we all have On Cyber locations that we can add to.
Exactly.
Linking back to the Void, not the Voids, but the artifact pods.
100%. Those are I mean, those are the classic spots. I have like that's where my VIP lounge is. So like during the day, I pretty much keep my on cyberspace like as a screensaver during the day. I'm just chilling, and like I keep, I have like a special time of the day where I'm in my VIP lounge. So like any of my NFT holders can, easily jump in and like sort of have that limited access. And all these things, I'll say, like, they were all possible before, but I think they've just become easier and faster to do. It used to take us a lot of SDK development work and just, sometimes just headaches, weeks on end to build out these experiences. And now I feel like, a lot of that has been taken care of. So I just think that between this year and last year alone, like we're able to just do things a lot easier as communities. And if I can contribute to expanding the Novoverse by hosting these events here in On Cyber, like, you know, in parallel, just as another broadcast point. And I would encourage other people to as well, like, you know, invite your friends over to your space. I think everyone could have their own house, and, you know, we could connect via portals and do so much.
Well, we can maybe get It's Gary streaming in Neos VR. We can get a couple On Cybers going and just, you know, just broadcast it out there and just have that range, you know, and then almost just tune into what's happening within the space. I was just in my On Cyber space that we're actually watching on screen, almost Inception style right now, because I'm watching myself click on it. It's probably, the lag's probably about, I don't know, 45 seconds or so. And man, I got to do some more interior design work within my own Novoverse on Cyber Gallery. I think that's the Degen Den that we're looking at right now through the Web3 gaming. So yeah, I got to get a bigger screen here. I got like a 45-inch here, and you got like, you're sporting the 95-inch. You know, but that's all right, you know. And yeah, it's just
the pixels cost less in the metaverse.
Right, exactly. But that's it. Having fun, having that communication wavelength. That's what we've been doing in the Novoverse for some time. That's what you've been doing in the different metaverse locations. How about ways that people can get a hold of you and track what you're doing wonderfully in this space? Because, you know, when I go through your Twitter handle here, you know, it is filled with tons of gallery scenes, tons of do you have a normal cadence when you host, or do you hop in on shows? What's your normal visiting?
Yeah, so typically I stream 2 hours a day every day. So that's on Twitch at KevinOnEarth999. My schedule is listed all up there, and on Monday we do live building. So I'm typically building and people are watching me build something. And then on Tuesday we learn about something together. So community members, I have my own community token called Aurum. You can't buy it. There was never a pre-sale. There was never an airdrop. You can only earn it by coming to live streams, to even doing things like exercises. Like, we have our own rewards system. If you go on our website, imagineonearth.com, you can learn more about it. And so I'm typically streaming 7 days a week, and people are participating in that community. They're learning, they're growing. Our mission is to onboard 1 million creators to Web3. And in that process, I've also started a talent agency where I've started to sign artists that are clearly thought leaders and building experiences and building communities. They're very busy, and they don't necessarily have the time to go out looking for brand sponsorships or brand deals to host events. So I'm basically learning about their brands, helping them curate experiences, and then getting them brands into discussions that might lead to brand deals. And that has sort of been my main focus. Like, so if you're an artist and you're looking for representation, or you're, Six, you're definitely an OG. I definitely would want to talk to you and learn more about what you're doing. But it's really all about, it's not about doing anything different. It's more just about connecting the dots that are already there. So
I was just about to say that. I know one person that I ask if we could put his hat in the ring, because it's on backwards right there, and that is Six. I think that would be just sweet if we can get something like that lined up, and like almost just show how we can create that traction through what we do. And that's just networking with people, talking it, and exposing cool things that cool people are making. And I always say it, I just make friends. People are like, oh, Novo, this, that. Oh, you are an artist. No. Like, I find the friends that make the cool things, the JRR tokens that show me how to do things in On Cyber, the Avery Pipers that show me walk me through POAP, though I've done it a million times, but can show me how to make those images for it and how to crop a circle on an image, because I don't know those things. I'm an old guy. I don't know those. To come across the Kevins on Earth, who are, have that mission of going out there. I'm looking at your link tree right now, so feel free to go into that link tree, because it is about having that amplification effect. And that's one important thing, is finding those tidbits that are gonna, those amplification effects that self-servingly helps me out, because then it's just showing, hey, Crypto Novo is showing off cool stuff in this space for other people to watch, to listen to like, to throw up hearts if you're listening, to, watching it later. And I actually just started following you on Twitch here, and that's on the last screen. So he has been able to figure out how to restream my streams in there, and it's sometimes just clicking a button. And if it's clicking a button to get Six's songs heard by more people because they're dope AF, then I'm gonna click that button as many times as I can, to get his craft out there. I mean, and it's been out there for a while, so it's just another medium of doing the same thing. Because in a sense, Six is doing that with other artists. He's just not giving them a fish. He's teaching them how to fish so then they can be self-sufficient in this game. And since the technology changes so quickly, it's bringing other people in. Meow Meow Georgie out of retirement. Man, Meow Meow, how are you doing? Good to see you down there listening, my friend. Man, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen her in a minute. Good having
sure.
You. So you got 2 hours a day. I hate to be do you get like, man, you have 2,003, man, almost 2,500 followers on Twitch there. Do you get paid for that? I mean, do you get like, I don't know how Twitch works. I mean, do you get like, what is it? You get,
you don't really get much on Twitch. They take most of the liquidity out of any value you create. I think people are talking about this distinction between should I go to Twitch, should I go to Kick? And I'm just going to fast forward and people will say, hey, own your space. Stop asking to live on someone else's land. Go get like a space set up in OnCyber and you can literally get 100% of your revenue and spend no money doing it. The only thing is that it definitely takes a level of like, I still stream across Twitch. I still stream across YouTube. You do have to open those bridges. So I really think it's like about telling people, hey, come in the water, inviting them in there. I'll say like working Twitch, and this is how I got into working in the talent, working as a talent agent, like with artists, is because when as a creator, as a content creator, as a builder, creative, I don't like the word influencer because I think everyone has influence, and that distinction shouldn't be made between people. Everyone has a level of influence, but like in that role, I will say I've found that like I said, at the start of the show, like direct. I love being direct. And the reality is that like creating value in the market is connecting people to products that solve problems for them. And like, Twitch and Kick, they are being middle people to the products that can solve people's problems and the content creators and the creators who are doing that. So like Web3 is all about, let's remove that middle person. And I think for that matter, like being in Web3 has allowed me to do that in various directives. And, as a result, by creating an experience like this, I've been able to have conversations with brands on my own and show them how it's actually more effective to educate people on Web3 through immersive experiences rather than just trying to teach them via a piece of paper, via a lecture, via whatever it may be. You need multiple dimensions of learning to happen for people to really learn. So like, if like companies can't think about teaching their organizations or their consumers about Web3 by putting out content first, they need to think about empowering teachers first, and content needs to come second. So the teachers really in Web3, who are the best teachers? They are the artists. They're the people who were here through the bear market, through all this stuff, and they were participating, maybe winning or losing, but they were here for the right reasons, and they found the true gold in all of this madness. And so like, that's how I ended up getting it. It's like, I don't really make money via the subscriptions on YouTube, on Twitch. I've actually been able just to do good work working with brands to connect them and educate their communities and their consumers so that the value that they're creating in Web3 can actually be realized. And that realized value in itself is enough to pay me in 10 times over. So like, now I'm just basically teaching that I'm not even teaching that, but just like giving my playlist to the people who I work with here, those artists that I work with, to help them do the same. And of course, as their agent, I get to, see my reward as a result. And, so just to answer your question in a nutshell, I have not been successful via Twitch or YouTube, ads or subscriptions. It's all been by really working directly with brands.
But I think it's a different type of success, I would say. And that success for you, very similar to I, would be just educating others and almost bringing others in. For me, like my success is bridged on, hey, if I talk to this certain NFT project, this Web3 company, and I can get 5 or 6 people to kind of follow what I'm trying to accomplish. And that's just welcoming all my aliens, apes, and zombies, having that open platform that people can have an open dialogue in any viewpoint. If it's a negative one, obviously I won't have that person back. But, having those discussions, so then you're able to find that systematic change for that one person, find that one link that, can maybe get Dr. Doge paid because he's just brilliant at making something in VR, finding that one radio frequency that Six's song could be heard, finding that one person who likes apparel that'll go out of his way like G Money did to buy a 2 and 4 shirt from Avery Piper. Those are the things that connect us. And those are the easy things that we can do to drive this community, because each community member has a different aspect in it. Just like we said in the beginning of the show, if it's from a musical talent, if it's from a connectivity talent, if it's from, a balance standpoint, it all adds to the large picture of bringing in, because the more we have in here, there again, back to the amplification effect, the stronger that we're going to be. And like, you're right, Kevin, it does start with the education process. And that education process is almost learning, sometimes trial by error, learning while clicking away. I know for myself, when I had the option of either minting Bored Apes or Voids, I went with the science and I did my due diligence, and I didn't see any really technological science of owning a Bored Ape at that time. And I saw the Voids of, hey, you could pull this thing into VR. Like, my friend has a VR headset, and this is before like it was really even super popular. And like, all of a sudden I'm in there with Dr. Doge, with Holiday, with pretty much alphas of the space now that are testing this stuff in the beginning. And we're running around in Somnium space in VR, and we found glitches in it. Not glitches. We made mistakes in it where we'd put like green screens up. So then now you're able to project my AR filter through a VR lens in Somnium space. And it's just almost making your own avatar. So
that's amazing.
It's crazy to pull.
That's cool.
In there. It's crazy to pull Voids in there. And it all started with just having a cool platform with cool people wanting to push the limits, trying to break the computer, seeing what buttons they can push. But now you don't need to do that, because the simplicity of it is having On Cyber in there, having other metaverse platforms, NFT Oasis, Decentraland. There might be some wallet connectivity, but then that adds to your ownership, that adds to your IP, that adds to what your lane is. If it's building in this, stay in that lane. If it's being on Twitch, stay in Twitch. If it's on YouTube, stay in YouTube. I just try to carpet bomb everything because I want to get people in,
Totally. And that's the right way to do. I mean, like, at the end of the day, you have to be where people are. And I think you have to reach as many people as possible. And with the interconnection of things, like you said, press one button, you connected the thing to me. All I had to do, shout out to Restream. It took me one click. I was able to connect my Restream. Since I'm already streaming across platforms, super easy. And yeah, I mean, I think you're doing all the right things. And I've been watching you grow, and you deliver your, sort of platform as this vehicle for education for a long time. I've definitely learned a lot from seeing you. And I think one of the best things I see about your platform, Novo, is that I feel like sometimes people that like, you're so natural in how you're approaching this that it makes it easy. It makes it easy for people to see something. Oh, let me just try and explore this. Like, you don't make it seem like you're so far ahead that other people can't enter. Like you said, it's like, hey, sometimes you have to figure out how to make a frame, a circle so you can make a pope, like, And sometimes people can get really intimidated with all this stuff. And I know, teaching my parents and my family and my friends like all about this stuff, they definitely express that. So, I definitely take notes on that. And, I think it's up to all of us who are now natives, who are going to be onboarding this next massive wave, because, we definitely are nowhere close to mass adoption. And that means that all of these people who are tuned in right now, these people who you see, speaking at this event, these are the people who are going to onboard an entire generation to financial and data ownership. And I think the perspective in which we deliver that is going to impact how people use it. And a lot of the times, those perspectives, they can't be controlled. Like you said, there's the Bored Ape and there's the Void, and the perspective of why we're here and how you saw the utility of that 3D file. We need to make sure other people are available to that perspective, because it's not always the loudest. And we just have to make sure that we're fostering and opening those platforms. So consider me here to help and support the Novoverse however I can in the On Earth community.
I appreciate that. And sometimes this is getting into on cyber and just hitting the V button so then you can fly your drone around.
Hey.
I just crashed into a corner, so that's why I'm like belly up right now. But it's learning, and it's like that simple thing. Like, you honestly just told me that 20 minutes ago, and now I learned it. Just like, how do you do that? How do you do this? Like,
amazing.
That's the best thing you can do. And if you guys see any of my TikTok videos, any of my YouTube shorts, that's essentially 6 teaching me how to do these things. So you'll see the slow progression of like, yeah, this is pretty choppy, no one's really going to watch it, to like, yeah, now there's a header in it. Now we have little emojis bumping through it. Now we're adding song to it. Cause like, I'm learning this stuff, and it's really not for me, because onboarding is going to come with the masses. And, I'll loop this back into the Father's Day theme here. Is there's a whole bunch of little kids running around, and these little kids, let me pull this thing right here, have these little things right here, these little crypto punk giblets going around all over the place. They have, this is from NFT NYC 2022. This is dumpster dork slime. These products are coming out, and they're all over the place. If they're Peggy penguins, if they're different things, and like more and more you're seeing Grand Theft Auto having the Chillin' Chilies in it and other NFTs in it. And I don't know what really Artifact's doing. I don't know what
Fortnite. They just announced a Fortnite collab with Nike.
Bingo, right? And then EA Sports with the EA Sports just had Nike with the swoosh.com. So like, man, we might be sitting on digital sneakers, these digital Jordans, Aero 1 Jordans, and we might not even know it. The Artifact CryptoPunk shoes I have, I always say these are the first digital Nikes. Like,
oh my gosh, you have an Artifact CryptoPunk, dude?
Oh yes.
Oh yes. My gosh, bro.
And I wear them.
There's nothing.
And I tell people when the time is right, I don't know what kind of casket I'll be in, but when the time is right, bury me in them, burn me in them, launch me up in the moon with them. Like, cool. Like, that's it. That's my bit. Like, let's go. I'm going to wear the treads off those bad boys. If I was Michael Jordan, and I'd wear those first Nikes, like,
Absolutely. Those are going to be historic. Those are going to be like the Paul Newman Pearl watch, that's going to be classic.
Yeah, that's a great analogy too. That's exactly what it is.
And one thing I love is these new Artifact ones is the whole NFC chip that's embedded in them. All those things where like, just that they continue to push the bar. I think companies like that, if they're meant to be consistently innovative, and people FUD them, but if people stop FUDing them, I'll say they're not being innovative.
I got a question for you, Kevin. Did you get any of the Nike swoosh boxes?
I did indeed get a couple boxes. I did manage to pull out 2.
You revealed?
I did reveal. I managed to get a crocodile one. It was like one of them was one of the generative boxes, and the other one was, let me see if I can share it.
I might just need to have like a cleanup day next Sunday, and I might need to get my Void out of the black hole. I might need to Might do a shoe review. I'll do the two shoes. Is it okay if I share your screen?
Oh yeah.
There's no public information on it. I see that you're on the Nike site. There's nothing public there. Any tabs up top that you
Nope.
don't publicly? Okay.
That's my dog toaster. Sorry.
So you got the Croc. All right. So AP's our shoe guy. He's our resident shoe guy. Not saying Six isn't, but AP has he's gone through his fair share of eBaying shoes and look at that. That is so dope.
Wild. No, seriously, they really went to a whole other level with this one. I love that you can explore them, and the one thing I think, oh my gosh, like the detail on this, I just can't wait to see what's possible, like what they really have in store.
They got like zoomed in on like crocodile skin on that, or
right,
whatever Nike has, right?
I just wish you could like have like right now. I think these are like in a custodial wallet for right now. I think if I'm not mistaken, like you can't transfer them. Right. You can't bring it into your on cyberspace. So like for me, that has been sort of like, but I obviously don't expect that to be like that forever.
Now just wait till the file. Now that's going to be the thing, is they're probably going to have files coming with it. So then now you're going to be able to upgrade. What do you have, neon shoes right now on Cyber?
These ones that I have on Cyber are the reptile.
Oh, so you got the Nike reptiles. Oh, look, it's Jedi Meta.
Oh, is he here?
Yeah, Metatron's in there. I can tell.
Hey, let's go.
Thanks for the link in the connect there. Good to see you on Cyber.
These are the shoes that I'm rocking right now in my on Cyber.
The reptiles.
Classic. So I definitely am. I definitely always am geeking out on these artifact gears. It's just I love the idea of like personally. I'm hopeful like that within the next couple of years we'll start to see like NFC chip integration with live events, so we can start to see things like parallel world interactions. So I want to be having my people come into the in-world event and be present in the on cyberspace. They go dance on the dance floor, and that dance floor is going to detect their NFC chip and, produce their avatar on the dance floor dancing. And then at the end, when they go home, maybe send them a video where they're going to watch the stream and they're going to see themselves in, that venue. And I think that for me is like, that's really what I'm looking forward to more than anything.
Well, I believe Artifact's first party in New York, that's what it was. You had to have the physical hoodie, and that got you entrance in. So everyone pretty much had the same hoodie because all they had was one outfit. And then within that, there was a certain amount. Like if you had the first couple ones off the line, then you got into a VIP area.
Oh, she.
And I remember JR Token saying, "Oh, I have the VIP hoodie." Like he had no idea. He was just
shit.
He had it. So he got in a golf cart and they drove him over to this other entrance. And he tried to walk in on like the VIP entrance, and they scanned his chip. Like, no, this isn't a VIP one.
Oh, they got him.
So then he's like, "Well, can I get a ride back in the golf cart?" They got in there and they drove him back. But it was that's honestly what they used it for. And I think he was more ignorant. He wasn't trying to break the law. He was just more ignorant in what was going on there. But I agree with you with like having that as like your ticket into places. Like you can actually walk into this area. You can walk into this venue. You can walk into that. Six, do you have any questions that maybe can help fill in maybe an intro or a song? If we, I know we're backlogged on songs and for our prior guests, but any thoughts or anything you want to track down for notes?
Yeah, we got songs we gonna be dropping. We gonna be probably dropping some multiples through the week just so we can be able to catch up or whatever. And when those get back, that's gonna actually be able to speed us up on the process. But actually for this though, I'm seeing all the how he's doing all the content and everything that's in there. This should be pretty simple because he's already streaming and got his own stuff. But I did have a question as far as going to school at Berkeley. That's definitely something that I would have loved to do. Never pursued to go to school for music. I just came following up behind my dad, and from there I connected with a lot of different people. But just on the music, like what y'all say, how are you still into music outside of what you're doing for like with NFTs, but just anything outside of that. Do you do any music, play any instruments?
Right. And I'll just say, like, definitely appreciate the shout out, like, and like, just to bring it back to music, because for me, that's definitely one of the most important parts. I still make music. I'm curating it. I'm working on like a new experience. I have a different approach to how I'm making music. I'm trying to have a different approach. I've worked on a bunch of different albums. I'll say Berkeley was a great experience. I got denied 2 years in a row. Like, it took me 3 years applying to Berkeley to get in, because I wasn't as trained in my instrument when I initially tried to get in. So it took me some years in honing my craft to get there. And even then, when I got there, honestly, I found that like what you can learn there wasn't different. The biggest difference, I'll say, in going to a school like Berkeley is that you're around people who are equally as invested into music and creating as you are. When you go to maybe different schools for music that aren't as expensive, like, and I don't want to make it like that, but that's like, people can just like try music, and be like, oh, I'm considering doing a degree in music. And, but then when you go to a school like Berkeley, like, no one's considering it here. Like, people here have like put a lot on the line to get there. And so it pushes you, like, you end up around all those people who have that same vision. And it was a brilliant experience to get to like break down those creative barriers, like I said. And when I got out, I kind of focused on the problem solving. I was kind of frustrated with the music industry as a whole, due to a lot of the inequity that I was seeing, and just feeling like, I can't reach the people, that there's somebody between me and who I'm trying to reach. And eventually, Web3, like, so I had this like large catalog of like 6 different albums, everything from like acoustic, jazz, hip hop, to instrumental music, to just like, production, like, hip hop, all this kind of stuff. Like, and for that matter, like, now what I'm really focused on, and I think a lot of other creators and musicians are thinking about, like, we're going to make this music, and almost just as important is like, what's this experience that I'm going to bring them through? So I studied film scoring. A lot of what I used to do was telling stories with music. And now I feel like my potential and what I can do with that is just grown substantially, that I'm making music, but I'm honestly, the best way I could say it is like, I'm seeing where music needs to be. And, on Cyber is where I am right now. And I'm looking at where creators are building, and, funny enough, like, where music needs to be, in my opinion, might be like for a cooking show or for a dancing lesson, that, it's dance class in the metaverse. Like, I used to think about like writing songs, but now I'm thinking about experiences more than anything.
We talk about that all the time, and like, just like, hey, how can we make just like simple YouTube videos or TikTok dance videos using our CryptoPunks and our
100%. That's it.
And then, like, same thing, like, how do you have a book club come in here at a different hour? How do you have a cooking class come in at a different hour? How do you do different how-tos? And
yeah. And you can use your own community token. Like, for instance, we have our own community token that you could use to say, if you have a book club that maybe legitimately, like, you could, have the book club not only decide on the lyrics by picking out parts of the book, and that co-collaborative experience. Like, so for me, if I was to work with a musician, like, and they were like, the first thing I'm going to, if they were into books, I was like, let's focus around that. Every stream that we're going to have, you're going to be choosing a book, and then you're going to be talking about this book 45 minutes of your stream, and then 15 minutes of it is going to be like your community picking out phrases from this book that you're going to turn into a song. And then next stream, at the beginning of the stream, you're going to debut the song that they helped you sort of like. And so that is like how I'm finding myself falling into creating music, using these sort of Web3 tools to really make people feel like and to help them be a part of the creative experience.
I want to say what's up to Corey. I dropped your song on the top. Another musician out there. Keep on firing all those musicians. Dr. Crypto, I hope all is well, my friend. I'm inspired. Let's do some heavy work this week. But right now we're talking with Kevin on Earth999. That's where you can find him on just about all of his handles. We are streaming live in different multiverses. You can look at those up top. You can listen to this later as well because this is a recorded spaces. It is on YouTube. It is on Twitch. It is on a whole bunch of platforms, and that's what we're trying to accomplish. That's what we do accomplish every week here on these Sunday Fun Day nights with co-host Avery Piper, 6, and back soon, Dr. Doge. AP6, any other questions, thoughts, concerns, or ideas?
I did have some. Basically, I was going to say, too, though, Kevin, I love what you're doing. It definitely aligns with the beginning when I first teased. I did speak with Novo about this, but I haven't done it yet because I'm really not a person that forces things. I've just been trying to, since I've been in Web3, educate myself, build relationships, and just learn, as much as I can, so that way I can be able to do it the way that I want to. But my dad passed away. Happy Father's Day to him and all the other fathers. But my dad passed away a few years ago to a disease, and I wanted to start. Well, I was spreading awareness on the disease before maybe 3 years on Instagram and Twitter and different places before he had passed away. So my idea was to spread awareness through music, but through me making songs or little jingles, however it has to be, but just kind of giving people another way to be able to get the information, because I did see that a lot of people did gravitate towards it on the other socials, but it's more, I want to reach some other people, some kids, not just people who are familiar with the disease. Like I want to be able to reach other people. So yeah, man, I'd love to collaborate you, and I'm
100%.
glad that you came on the show. Thank you.
I like that.
Thank
It was a public service using, lyrics, rap, art as getting another way of whatever, maybe getting checked out for getting your normal checkups done, or, make sure they're eating properly, or you're making sure you're doing your due diligence with body, mind, and spirit, dude, I like that. I like that.
Absolutely. And I think, for any like artist, I think that's the most important thing, is that you're being as authentic as you can to the mission that you have. And the more that you are, the easier it is for someone like me to find, appropriate brands to partner with, because the reality is that that authenticity is what brands are looking for. So, and in that space, and it can be organizations, it can be foundations, like you can, build a space like that, like you said, that is like conducive to that frame of thought. I think spaces contribute greatly to perspective and thought, thought space. So I would love to collaborate with you on that. That is 100%. I'm a social entrepreneur, so whenever I can put my abilities to making a positive impact, that's already on goal for me. So, I definitely want to make sure we'll link on Twitter so that we can, but make sure that are you crypto for which one is your Twitter?
Mine's I'm IM6.
Yeah, IM6.
Right up on the big one right now.
Okay, I see it right here.
The number 6 before the I and the X. Stinky Scrublets, good vibes. Awesome. Right back at you. Stinky Scrublets listening in on YouTube, or watching in on YouTube. That's the way we do it. And IRL or URL. Great stream today, guys. Love listening and the enthusiasm. Right back at you. Bone Clubs. I had a Bone Clubs shoes on this weekend with my Nounsdale hoodie here when I was on a boat. Thank you very much, Freeze Frame, for getting me on the boat to watch the boat races in Chicago. I'm telling you, I get a lot of access with these NFTs, and just trying to be a good person. So keep on being good people. Good things happen to good people. Let's Let's see, POAPs. I tried to get a POAP for Secret Word, but I couldn't get it out. So DM me for POAPs. I got POAPs for tonight's show. Please just DM me on Twitter. I'll link in those POAPs right afterwards. And what else do I got?
I'm also, if you know, I see that you gave me 3, so can I give out 2 for my community?
You got it. That's what I got them there for.
Hey, let's go.
There's some POAPs buried in the Novoverse, Discord as well. You can find yourself in there if you go up to the link tree up at the top. Tons of people tuning in. Paradise 00406. Hello, right back at you. Thanks for everyone tuning in and listening. OX Quan, great conversation. Well, that's because I got good people around me, knowledgeable people in the space. So tune in, like, subscribe, retweet that room, all those good, wonderful things that we're going to do in here. But we might be looping back in with almost the same crew. You know, we can maybe turn it over again and see what we can have come out of it. Maybe just, you know, be here for Dr. Doge, who's had a rough week. You know, and, you know, sometimes the sentimental values, just like Six has with, you know, Father's Day, not having his father around, but it just means a lot, and having those memories go and what we can do and strive. And I've felt inspired and really never watched TV. And I was up late watching the Flaming Hot movie on Disney. It's not a documentary, but it's pretty close. Produced by, I believe, Eva Longoria, and it got me very inspired by just a gentleman who is a hard worker, who worked at Fritos his whole life to pretty much produce a $1 billion theme of Flaming Hots underneath Fritos. And it just got me inspired to build, and anyone can build. We have the tools to build. We can all do it. It's at our fingertips for a lot of us. And sometimes it's just clicking that button and just spreading that love, just, you know, spreading the love that Corey song's going out there, and, you know, just trying to get that tranquility out there of this good, positive people that are in this space. That's why I like to hang out with Six and AP and, you know, awesome people in the space. And Kevin, do you got any questions for us? You know, we've been kind of drilling and hammering them home to you, but I just love a clone talking to a clone. It's pretty awesome.
The Kevlar vest keeps me safe, you know, when I get the question. But yeah, no, I mean, honestly, one of the things I was going to ask is, how did y'all like meet? Like, did this sort of emerge from your work, Crypto Novo? And then, like, is that how you connect? Like, is this something that like this associated over time? Did y'all know each other like, how did this sort of emerge?
AP, go ahead. I got a tickle in my throat. Go for it.
Yeah, I worked with, this is a great question. I worked with Crypto Novo at Vayner. NFT it was called at the time. Novo was an earlier employee than I was, but yeah, it was funny. Like, my intro to the space was really like exploring a few projects in the very beginning, and then kind of diving deep into this consultancy. It was called an agency at the time, but it's interesting, kind of coming from like a professional agency perspective, and then that turning into more of like an enthusiast and someone. I mean, I was obsessed with the space, but it was kind of funny coming from the perspective. We worked with a lot of large brands, and then Novo, me and Novo really connected. Novo has become like a real mentor for me. We spent a lot of time, especially after both leaving Vayner, and yeah, it's just been a very good working relationship. I was just on vacation, but now I'll be back to be working with Novo, building the Novoverse.
Love that.
And then for Six, it was simple. Like he wanted to mint before the year was up, and I'm like, all right, let's do it. I'm like, what do you want? What do you want to mint? Like, we can mint anything. And he made a song for me, and it was just awesome. And we just minted it. That's what we did. You know, I can't even remember. Six, did we mint the concept Halloween art first, or did we mint the Novoverse song first? I can't remember.
The concept song was first for Halloween. And to add to that, to say how we actually first met, when I first got into the space, I think I had joined a Twitter space where Novo was giving away wearables, and like he's always doing. He's always, you know, pushing the movement, and we connected through there. And I remember we DM'd, and I was having trouble getting my wearable, and I had just got a wallet. I was really freshly new, but I was just having trouble. And he really literally walked me through. Like when I look back at the messages, just seeing how I didn't know how to do stuff, and just seeing the patience, that he had with me. And then through that, even asking me like, what did I want to do in this space? And I wasn't 100% sure, but I did know I had a couple goals that I had planned. And once I put out what my goals were to him, he just like, he wanted to help me. So basically, if I was willing to,
you didn't have a choice, my friend. You did not have a choice.
I had to apply myself though. That's what it's about. You gotta show up, so that was my side of it, is really being able to show up every day. And from there we started continuing to build. And then this is like 2 years later or so.
Bingo, you got it.
Yeah, so we've been working together for a while.
Love that.
And just
I'm happy that we've crossed paths here. I mean, I feel like now you can definitely count on me to be, supporting, and whatever I can do to support y'all, and, definitely doing all the right things. I hope that, out of the next 100 people that come through this space, that, most of them find their way through, some of these people here. And because clearly everybody here is looking at things from the right way, and, have clearly already built a substantial amount in this space. And I know, Six, you're working in the music space. Like, how long? That was the other thing I was going to ask. Like, how long have you been working in the music space? Like, you dropped some stuff with Crypto Novo. Like, what have you dropped before then? Tell me a bit about like your journey as a musician.
All right. So, in Web3, really,
this is your interview process too. I mean, this is your agent. This is your Web3 agent here, Six. We might mint this moment if it works out well. So no pressure.
All right. So in Web3, the first things that I did was with Novo. So really, that's my entry. But I wanted to be a NFT theme song creator. Like, that was really kind of like my idea of what I wanted to do, because I feel like music that I've done outside of Web3 and Web2 and just music period, that I'm very much of a person that can write a song about one specific thing. Like, it could be a strawberry, it doesn't matter what it is. So by me looking at all the different collections that were out, I was just trying to see what was missing. And then I saw that it was music, and that's what I could offer. So I jumped into some other spaces of collections that I was interested in. And without even asking them, I just took notes, just how I do here. I took notes on the collection. I went and did my own research afterwards and put together some songs. And then I reached out to the founders, DM'd them. And that's how I ended up doing the Void song. I did some for Tater Town. I've done different songs, but usually it's like more of a surprise type of thing. And then I just give it to the founders and they love it. That's what I did with Novo. So that's how it's been working for me.
That's amazing. You're fine. Like, this is, I don't know if you did it I mean, you probably were doing it on purpose. Just you're creating an environment. You're kind of, this is kind of what we were talking about, solving the problem. And like you said, you found the gap where music wasn't, and you found a place to put it. And I think that's just like a perfect example of what artists should be doing. And there's a lot of gaps to fill out here. Like I said, there is literally not a dance class in the freaking metaverse. Can somebody, if you can't tell, I don't know how to dance, and I'm trying to get somebody to teach me how to dance, please.
Six, we talked about that. I wanted to set up something, because in the beginning of my gym classes, the kids do like a little dancing cardio warm up, but it's like nothing wrong with Marshmello, but it's like Marshmello, this, that, players that have been in the space, and probably videos that have been viewed 10 million times, but it's the same stuff. Like, let's put a clone up there. Let's put a Bored Ape up there. Let's put a Crypto Punk up there. Like, almost the same types of videos. And then they can use that as their dance and warm up routines. Right now, everyone look at the top, because right now I just plugged in 3 songs that Six created. There's a lot more. Definitely retweet those. Give them a like. Share that love. The newest one up there is for Dr. Doge. So, give him some love out there. The next one is Have You Ever Been? And that's a Novo verse song. There's also another Novo verse song that we've been using here. And then there's another 2 and 4 song that we've created as well. These can all be found on TikTok. They're on YouTube's. We're creating them into YouTube shorts. My Instagram page. 6 is just multi-talented, and teaching me along the way. And that's, the important thing is, hey, I might have showed him how to put a wearable on his Decentraland avatar, but in return, he's showing me how to create TikTok videos, and it's just what happens in this space, and that's what we all need to be privy to is how we can work together to learn from this. But then another aspect is how we can elevate each other, and getting 6 to make jingles for different people, different NFT projects, different influencers, different Web2 companies. Is what he has been doing, is what he's continuing doing, and they get cooler and cooler. It's just going to be a matter of time before the right button, the right people listen to that. It's just going to blow up. I know it's just a matter.
I agree. Of things like this, they don't even, like for these things to really even make that much of an impact, that like for artists to thrive in this kind of landscape, you don't even need what we used to need a long time ago. You don't need 1 million followers. You do not need 100,000 followers. Like, you can, if you get to 10,000 followers, you're already more than in a good enough position. 10,000 followers, like if you're, for me, like, I think if you spend as much time, and if not all of your time, just investing in the authentic parts of what builds a relationship with your fan base, not, simply like a lot of people, I feel like in my earliest times in the Web3, I saw a lot of people leaning on giveaways a little bit too hard. And not to say it's not great to give things away to your community, but that's also like, you don't want to overbear your conversation with your community on giveaways, and it also, you don't want to forget that the greatest gift that you have is within you, your potential. And like, and whenever, like I've worked with a lot of artists on different levels. And I think the number one thing that we have to remember is our potential to do things that we don't even realize that we're currently able to do. Sometimes people think about like, what can I do? And they start to think about all the things that they know how to do, but there's a lot more that we don't know how to do than what we know how to do. So if you start to look at it from that way, I find that if you say like, I'm a musician, I want to find, myself able to sustain and thrive as a musician. Stop trying to do that through what you are doing now, which clearly isn't putting you in a position to thrive as an artist, as a musician. Like, insert a new piece of knowledge, a new skill, insert like a new perspective, go outside of what you know, and you're going to find that like those new doors are definitely going to open.
We got to open new doors. I'm glad that Jedi Megatron opened this door. This has been a great conversation. I enjoyed it. I know what you have been doing in this space. I've been tracking you. Keep on plugging those hours. Thank you. Let's just build together. Just like anytime, like these Sundays pretty much just turn into live business meetings, and then we usually sit afterwards and talk and see how we can format what the next cool content in this space is going to be like. Other people that we're going to possibly bring on the show next week, and it could just be us again jamming again of what we're creating. And
totally, I'm totally with that.
It's stuff that we can continue to create, and that's just cool cool content. If it's the unboxing, unraveling of some shoes from the Nike swooshes, if it's pulling our voids back out of the black hole, or if it's just inviting someone new alpha to the space, that'd be great. And if it's another one of 6's songs, I'm always happy to hear one of those, music to my ears. But we're going to wind it down here, cap some things off, because I'm eager to actually get to work tomorrow in the Web3 space. Got some that I'm building, some things that actually can be symmetrical in what we're all trying to do in this space. So AP, any last words? 6, any last words?
No, somebody says in the chat, can you ask 6 if he makes his beats and if he collabs on songs? I think the answer is yes, 6, but I just want to make sure.
Yeah, the answer is yes. My DMs are open. and everything that has been posted or that I've created in Web3 has been produced by me, written, recorded by me. None of it is outside. Not that I don't go to other studios or whatnot, but for me, for the things that I've been doing to give to people that has been created right now, I've been solely doing it all myself. So I wanted to be able to give, people completely me. And so I'm open to collaborations and doing beats with people or doing songs with people. So yeah, just hit me up and we can, figure something out.
Yeah, Corey. Corey definitely hit him up. Six. I know him well. I think Avery, you were with me. I think we hung out with Corey and man, his friends. I can't remember his friend's name off the top of my head. Very cool, very chill people. Doing things for the right reasons. I believe he is, or I'm very sure he is a Native American. So what he's trying to do is just bring a voice and culture to his land through Web3 outlets and try to help his native family. I mean, that's what it is. We're all trying to help each other. So, Corey, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the question. AP, thanks for catching that. A lot of action here today. I appreciate everyone that was listening and watching and following and tracking, and we're going to keep on growing and growing together. So yeah, that's about it. Kevin, anything else? Anything you want to say? Any last words here?
Well, shout out to everybody. I'm going to be streaming all week. So if you liked anything what I was talking about, I'm here, like I said, 7 days a week, empowering creators. My mission is to bring as many creators into Web3 as possible to help them thrive, because then once we have 1 million creators, we can go on to the next stage, which is just changing the world. I mean, what can't you do with 1 million creators, right? So definitely link with me on Twitch, Twitter, wherever y'all are at, and let's work together.
Six, you are top tier. You always have been so humble. You have an amazing soul. Corey's gonna DM you pretty shortly here, Six. And that's it. We're gonna peace out for this Sunday. Keep your ear to the street. I'm actually having some really cool things spurring off here probably in the next 6 to 8 weeks. Some really cool new news coming. But with that being said, I want to say for all my aliens, apes, and zombies, this is Crypto Novo saying stay positive and love life. Peace. Let's see if I get some live music here. See if I get a Doge song. Let's see if I can play that. Play. Oh, it might not be loud enough. Way too quiet for this jam, but stay positive and love life. Peace.